This video chronicles some Riddle and Thomas family history from the mountains of western North Carolina, and is also a record of a trip by my cousins and me to find the graves of our ancestors. Let me start by introducing the family. We are the grandchildren and one great-grandchild of William Palmer Riddle, who was called Parm, and Ruth Florence Thomas.
Hi everybody, my name is Al Parker. I'm here with my brother Mark. Say hi, Mark.
Hey.
We're here in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, and we're having a cousins weekend. It's January 2023, and we are having a cousins weekend to do something we've talked about doing for a long time, which is go find all the burial sites of all of our family members, so all of our ancestors. So our cousin Charlie's coming, Kenny's coming, David's coming, Gary lives here, he's going to join us. So we're going to take you on a cemetery tour of some of the ancestors of our family. So I want to start. Mark and I are the two youngest cousins who are grandchildren of William Palmer Riddle and Ruth Florence Thomas Riddle. So we're going to start with their graves.
Parm and Ruth had 9 children, and against the odds, 8 of them lived to adulthood. The eldest was Zora, then came Zula, who died in infancy, and then Frank. We're going to stop here with Frank because one of the cousins you're going to meet in this video is Kenny. Kenny is Frank's grandson and is the son of Tommy Riddle. Kenny is the great-grandchild of Parm and Ruth that I referred to earlier. Now, getting back to the Riddle siblings, the next one was Zella. Aunt Zell had a child, Gary Curtis, who is one of the cousins in this video. Next was Uncle Joe, then Uncle Charles. Charles had a son also named Charles, also known as Charlie when we were young, who was in this video. Then came Fred, and then Leo, who was called Lindy after Charles Lindbergh. And finally, my mother Jean, the baby of the family. My brother Mark is the youngest of all the cousins.
This is the grave of William Palmer Riddle and Ruth Thomas Riddle, and her middle name was also Florence. And right beside them is a grave of one of their children who died very young in infancy. This is baby Zula. And the story goes that my mother was their youngest child who lived to adulthood, and her brother Lindy was next. And the story I've been told is that a couple of weekends, my grandfather and grandmother and children, Jean and Lindy, came up here and built this little cement wall that is around the grave. So now we've got other family here in this cemetery as well. In fact, all of the aunts and uncles are buried here except for my mother. She is in Spruce Pine, and my Uncle Charles, he is in Wadesboro. And yeah, so Mom and Charles, and then Aunt Zella is in another cemetery here in town. So let's start over here with Frank Riddle. Frank was one of the older children of William Palmer and Ruth Florence, and he was married to Emma Edwards, and they had a son named Thomas Edward Riddle, and he is born here. So he is the first cousin that has passed on. His son Kenny lives here in Spruce Pine, and he's going to be joining us tomorrow for our tour. Over here is our Aunt Zora and her husband Bill Pegg, and they lived over in Mars Hill, and they had a son named William Jr. or Billy, and Bill was a World War II sergeant. Then down here we have Uncle Joe and his wife Eunice. Joe was born in 1921, and their daughter Mary Elizabeth just passed away this year, which we were sad to see. She was only 70 years old. Joe also was in the U.S. Army. I think he was stationed in excuse me, Hawaii during the war. And over here we have Fred and Ruth. This is Uncle Fred and his wife Ruth Alice, and they lived in Spruce Pine. Then they moved to Salisbury, and their son David will be joining us on this tour. But also right here we have their daughter Debbie. So Deborah Riddle Feemster. She also died too young.
One thing that most of my cousins and I have in common is this deep sense of interest in family history. We had talked for years about going a day trip to find all the graves of our ancestors, and we finally did it in January of 2023. We picked January as we knew that the briars and snakes and bears would all be hibernating and dormant at that time of year. I mapped the locations of all of the graves and cemeteries that we had found and put them in order of the shortest amount of driving distance. Then we all piled into Kenny's big GMC Duramax 2500 and headed out of Spruce Pine. Our first stop was in Little Switzerland, North Carolina at the Boyd Cemetery. What a beautiful bluff this place is. Now, the grave here is not one of our direct ancestors. It's the grave of Abigail Riddle, the sister of my grandfather, William Palmer Riddle. She was born 1 year before my grandfather, and she died at birth. None of us know why she's buried here, as this is not, as far as we know, an area where our great-grandparents ever lived. I guess that's a mystery for us to solve another time. Abigail was one of 10 children born to William Harvey Riddle and Mary Jane Dixie Thomas. You will see their headstones later in the video. Now, in case you're paying attention to detail, this is one of several marriages between the Riddle and Thomas families. This was very common in rural, isolated communities at that time, and also in the royal families of Europe. I will leave it up to you to decide which category my family falls into.
All right, we are now up above Little Switzerland off of Boyd Cemetery Road. This is the old Boyd Cemetery, and the reason we've come here, and I've got Charlie and Kitty here with me, and Mark, and the reason we're here is our grandfather's little sister, infant sister, is buried here. She's the only one buried here. Abigail, daughter of W. Harvey, William Harvey, and Mary J. Riddle. So Mary J. is the one they called Dixie.
What is that? Can't tell.
Something died. Born, died, so it's the same day.
Okay.
Our next stop was the Bear Creek Baptist Church Cemetery to find the grave of our grandmother Ruth's sister Roxy.
This might be her right here.
So we're at the grave of our great aunt Roxy here, 1900 to 1964, and her husband was in World War I.
Yeah.
Was this her first husband or second husband?
This was her last husband.
Last husband, okay.
Oh, you mean
Roxy's, because she was married to a Mall, right?
no, her daughter. Her daughter Margie.
Oh, her daughter was married to a Mall.
Daughter Margie.
Is that it?
No. Oh, this is Bill. This is her son Bill.
Okay.
William Burleson.
Oh, and he's got a big headstone behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a footstone.
Joe's age. Oh, Joe's age. Now, one of them died in a car wreck on Cox's Street.
Maybe that was the one.
A Bill and a Jim.
We are at the Mine Creek Baptist Church in Mine Creek, and we are looking for the graves of our great uncle Cloyd. So Cloyd and his wife Pearl would be the brother of Roxy that we just visited, and also our grandmother Ruth Thomas Riddle. All right, this is great uncle Cloyd's grave. He fought in World War I. Was a sergeant.
Yeah.
And he's married with his wife Pearl Green, And next to them is their daughter Suzanne, who was killed in a wreck down at Grassy Creek. Is that right? And we got Jim and Jolene. Are they part of the family as well?
Brother.
Oh, is it Cloyd's brother? It's
If you wanted to see
That'd be Cloyd's son.
Cloyd's son.
what it
Okay.
costs to get an appraisal
Okay.
up there,
Yep.
look at it and see if they could get it down.
All right.
Rose's Branch was our next location. This is where the Thomas family settled, and it is still extremely remote. To get there, you take 226 south from Spruce Pine, and then turn on 226A south. Take a left on Mine Creek Road, and then a left on 80, then watch for a sharp turn onto Rose's Branch. Those are the directions I wrote down the last time Kenny took me there, or you can try following the directions to Rose's Branch Road in Bakersville on Google Maps.
We're in Rose's Branch, and we're headed up the side of a mountain to try to find an old ancestral graveyard. I want to show you this barn. This barn was owned by Malone Thomas, who was my great-grandfather. So it was my grandmother, Ruth Florence Thomas's parents. And we just saw the graves of two of their children. So we're going to head up the side of this mountain right here. Okay, we are down at the end of Rose's Branch. We did not find the cemetery on the side of the hill. We went up the wrong ridge. So Kenny's going to come back in his four-wheeler and get some of the folks that live down here to show him where it is. But we're down at the end of the Rose's Branch. You got the railroad trestle behind me. We're going to go under there, back that way. That's headed toward Double Island and the river. And there's an area called Dobag, and that's where the Riddle family originally settled when they came here. So the Thomases were on the Rose's Branch side, and the Riddles were over here at Dobag.
This is Tote. This is just the Tote.
Yep.
But it's after the south and north flow together. So
This
is the north and the south flow have already come together. No, that just came to the Denison up the other side of Cocaine. Cocaine. That's where they come together.
Charlie, where is the Thomas Cemetery?
Up there.
Up where?
There's a big open field up there.
So really, we'd be better off if that's where we're going to Silver Chapel. Never mind.
Well, and then work our way back over there.
Well, I'm going to be bringing that field.
We climbed all the way to the top of that mountain, and we never did find the graveyard we were looking for. It would take us 2 years to get back up to Rose's Branch and find it. In the aftermath of the devastation of Hurricane Helene, some of the Thomas family who still own property in Rose's Branch carved out the path to get up to the old Thomas family graveyard high up on that mountain overlooking Rose's Branch. We were able to get up there in 2025 using Kenny's huge truck, but even with the improvements that the Thomases made, I don't think any regular vehicle would still be able to do it.
That's CSA, Confederate States of America. Well, I think Cora, Company A, 58th North Carolina Infantry, Confederate States of America. Ahijah.
Is that Hodge's grave?
H-Y. We needed to have brought a big sheet of paper and some charcoal, or we could have done that across series.
The rubbing.
Yeah, rubbing, yeah.
We'll do that tomorrow, maybe.
This is it.
That's Hydra.
This is it.
But what in the world was Wayne telling us about one getting stolen up here?
Is that the Confederate thing?
This is it.
All right. Guess who brought it up here?
Lindy and Grandpa?
Nope.
Who?
Parham and Malone. So this was Malone.
That's Ruth.
This is Ruth's granddad.
Granddaddy.
But Ruth's daddy and Parham brought it up here. Malone was Ruth's daddy. And Daddy told me that they got the tombstone at the train station. They got a call or got a message to come pick it up. It was all free, and you just had to install it.
So these rocks are markers of graves.
Yep.
This is the grave of Ahijah Thomas, also called Hijah. I assume his wife Martha Hensley is buried up here in one of the unmarked graves. They were the parents of William Malone Thomas, who was my great-grandfather, so this would make Hijah and Martha my great-great-grandparents. When Hijah Thomas was born on October 20th, 1828, in Yancey County, North Carolina, his father, John M. Thomas, was 32, and his mother, Lucinda Wilson, was 20. Hijah married Martha Hensley about 1860 in Yancey County. They were the parents of at least 6 sons and 7 daughters. He registered for military service in 1862 and was a private in Company A-58 of the North Carolina Regiment of the Confederate Army. Hijah died on October 17, 1902 at the age of 73. I found a copy of the application submitted by William Harvey Riddle, my grandfather's father, to get a headstone for Hijah Thomas, my great-great-grandfather on my grandmother's side.
We are at the Silver Chapel, which is right off of Highway 80 in Bandana, North Carolina, and we're headed to see our great-grandparents' grave. This is Malone and Amanda Thomas. So we just saw Malone's barn down there on Rose's Branch. That's all that's left of anything that he would have built.
Okay, all right. Daddy says as soon as he got back, as soon as he first saw this, he wasn't here when his granddaddy died. But Daddy was in the Philippines that year. He died before Daddy got back from the war, and this Daddy was
44.
And I think that we went to the Bakersville courthouse, and Daddy paid $2 or whatever it was for a death certificate, and the correct thing is on the death certificate.
Well, what is the correct thing?
I forgot.
What Charlie is talking about in the video is the fact that William Malone Thomas's death date is incorrect on his headstone. The grave says 1944, but he actually died on December 6, 1945. This is a photograph of Malone and his wife Amanda with their children. My grandmother is the oldest girl holding the banjo. The boy is Cloyd, and the other daughters are Roxy and Octavia. Octavia was the baby.
We have just arrived at Kona Baptist Church, what they call the historical Kona Baptist Church, and we are here to find the grave of some of our ancestors, particularly George Silver, who was a Revolutionary War soldier. His son's daughter, Rachel, married a Thomas, I believe. I've got it on my phone.
They call it Granny Thomas.
Yeah, but that's George Silver, Revolutionary War soldier right there. Wow. In fact, there's a sign over there. You want to go walk and see that, the entrance where it talks about that he's buried here. Wow. Yeah.
That's 1760.
Enlisted in the Revolutionary.
Here's Charlie. Here's Charlie. Okay.
I can't quite make it out.
Did you see this?
So this is the backside of the George Silver grave, and right here we have the grave of Nancy Ann Griffith, wife of George Silver, died in 1849, born 1766, and on the backside it says, descended from Maryland colonists William Griffith, Maureen Duval, the Huguenot, William Jones Sr., and John McCubbin. Here's the sign outside the churchyard. It talks about George Silver being buried here. Yep, that's the grave of Charlie Silver, who was killed by his wife Frankie.
Apparently they took her all the way to Morgan.
Well, that was the courthouse.
Well, that was all. It was all Burke County then.
Burke County.
That's right.
Yeah. But her grave's on the back side of the lake. Oh, yeah.
So every time that they would find another piece of the legend is every time they find more of the body, they'd bury it again, and that's why you got these 3 little stones and then someone.
Didn't she ask him and put him in the fireplace? Yeah.
Yeah, part of him was in the fireplace. Part of him was scattered all over the property in the woods. And when the spring thaw came, they found more of him, evidently. Yeah. And it was Christmas time. It was right at Christmas time.
And she was only like 12, I think 14 or 15.
She was very young, and had a baby.
Yeah.
She had a baby named Nancy.
Supposedly her mother and her brother helped her and dispose of it, but they were never.
They
They might have been charged, but they weren't punished.
Right, and they definitely helped her escape. She escaped from the jail,
He was 19.
and they carried her. Yeah, he was young too.
19, yeah.
Yeah, he was young. There's a lot of speculation that he may have been abusive to her. Who knows? But you know,
Well, the movie that I watched, it was depicted as he was abusive to her.
right.
No, she sent him to Walmart to buy toilet paper. He got single ply. She got her hands.
During
That's
COVID.
why.
During COVID. All right, we're headed up the hill to the Riddle Deaton Cemetery. Now this is off of Big Brushy Creek Road. And if you look down there, you'll see a gray house. That is the old Handy Riddle house, we believe. And way up on this hill, in this fenced-in area, is where we're going. Okay, so we are now in the Riddle Deaton Cemetery. I got Jesse C. over here. This is Bacchus Riddle. He was the brother to William Harvey, who was our great-grandfather. And over here, we have some of the children of Bacchus and Georgiana. Looks like they all died pretty young. Wow, that's very tragic. That's very sad. Now here we've got one of our great-greats. This is Johnny Riddle, and you see that the tombstone looks fairly new. This is Johnny, first settler, and Nellie Cook, Indian princess. And that's where we get the story that we have Native American or Cherokee heritage in the family. So, interesting to see. And this is the grave of Garrett Riddle and his wife. They called her, it looks like it's spelled Cena, but they called her Siney. This is up at the Riddle Deaton Cemetery. 1888, born 1829. So James Garrett is the son of Johnny, I think, right up here, or the grandson of Johnny. Son. We're at the Liberty Hill Baptist Church, and we're at our great-grandparents' grave here. This is William Harvey Riddle and Mary J. Thomas Riddle, but they called her Dixie. And over here next to them is another Riddle grave. Do y'all know who David and C. and Willis? Do you all know who David Riddle is? Is he William Harvey's brother? Or it could be a son. The age difference. This is Paul Jr. and Dorothy.
Who's Paul Jr., Charlie?
That's Coleman's son.
And then we've got,
And I know Kesson is one of them.
okay, there's Coleman Riddle. Coleman was William Harvey's brother, is that right?
No, he was
Farm's brother.
Farm's brother, okay. And that was his wife, Mary Decky Riddle. Okay. And
She was a breed before she married Coleman.
Doris Brenda Sparks. And somebody else Sparks.
That's where that grave is.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
and William K. Riddle, that's his, they called him Kesson.
That's Kesson's grave.
Yep.
Whose brother?
That's Kesson, that's Coleman's son.
Coleman's son.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was telling the story last night
World War II.
about the horseshoe,
Yeah.
that I think that he was involved with that, and that Jack Stevens taking down a couple of notches with a horseshoe in the mouth.
Is he the one that never ate right again?
Yep.